Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Yunawala Putri. I'm from class PBA. Here I will explain or answering the question from assignment 6 about the language perception in psycholinguistics theory part 2. In the spoken word recognition process, there are three processes occur. Namely, first is the process of initial lexical context. This process, the spoken word recognizing process, begins when auditory input that has been segmented and phonetically and phonologically make initial contact with the mental lexical or storage word in the mind. Second is the process of sections. A section process to determine the most relevant and appropriate word to represent auditory input previously received. And last is the process of integration, defined as the mind work to combine the word chosen through the selection process with the interpretation of the meaning in auditory input. Parsing in this context can be viewed as a process the assembling words that have been recognized in the perception stage and assigning meaning attribute to the series of words so that the auditory input can be understood as a sentence with syntactical structure and semantical representation. This process called syntactical parsing. Syntactical parsing defined as a process of constructing meaning from a word to sentence level based on the lexical and morphological information from auditory input at the perception stage. And the types of knowledge that the mind need to go through the process called sentential processing is taking a place by which the mind attempt to understand the relationship between word and sentence, attempt to obtain meaning of the sentences representation from the auditory input. The interpretation stage can be defined as a process where the mind is able to show understanding of the speech heard when they communicating. While discourse processing is where the mind is working for comprehending language product such as speeches or text. The model described three levels of discourse processing, namely, first is the most basic level is or surface level. Is the brain recognize a word based on the sounds and organize them into a sentence. Second is proportional level or meaning levels, where the brain interpret a deeper meaning by connecting word to context and prior knowledge. And last is at situational knowledge, where the brain achieves full understanding by combining all language knowledge and conversational context. Okay, last, the stages of understanding language perception is first perception stage. In this stage, the brain captures sounds elements such as phonology, stress, and intonation from auditory input. This helps the brain recognize the basic feature of what is heard. Second is word recognition. After recognizing sounds element, the brain begins to identify individual words. This is where the brain filters sounds and separates them into meaningful word units. Third is parsing stage. Here is the brain organized word into sentence structures. This means the brain starts to understand how the word arranged relate to each other with a sentence. And last is interpretation stage. In this final stage, the brain combines all of the process information such as sounds, word, and sentence to grasp the overall meaning of the sentence or messages. Okay, I think that's all for me. I'm sorry if I did a mistake. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.